It's an OPTUM! Hello everybody! Can you believe it? I can't. Got an OPTUM. It turned up yesterday, I didn't even know it was coming. OPTUM! So yeah, Farmstar have kindly lent us this OPTUM on demo. It's on demo, I must add. Obviously on the weight block it says demonstrator, so don't get too excited, it's not replaced anything yet. We're just having a go and seeing what we think. So I think we'll have a look at the outside first and then do a bit of driving, and I'll tell you what I think of it. I've been waiting for this for such a long time. Since I first saw them on like the prototype photographs on Facebook, I've been like, oh, I want to try an OPTUM. Finally got my chance. Right then, so here she is. I think what stands out with OPTUMs for a lot of people is the bonnet. Because it looks mean. It looks, yeah, it just looks mean. It's been long overdue, sort of an overhaul for the case tractors, sort of aesthetically, and obviously the Pumas are probably, well, the Pumas are going to end up like this. The Maxims already look like this, and the Magnum that's been released looks like this. So yeah, so they're all going to look like this at some point, but the OPTUM was the first, and yeah, it looks well. It looks well. So we've got a 1.2 ton Philip Watkins weight block on the front, and really, like, first impressions, I take those little things that aren't on Pumas, like the buttons down here. You've got buttons here to control your front spools, and obviously you've got buttons to control your linkage on the Pumas. Well, that's a nice handy feature, having been able to control your front spools from outside the cab. The front axle is very, very different to a Puma, very, very different. So there with the suspension you've got around that side and around that side. I must admit, it does ride an awful lot better than a Puma. So as far as the engine's concerned, under that bonnet, it's the same 6.7 litre FPT engine that's in my Puma 240. Yeah, crazy, isn't it? It's the same engine, but it's been uprated and tuned, and Bayek does it pull, and it sounds different as well to my 240. Even though it's the same engine, it sounds different, it sounds more powerful. So yeah, and I might cover that point a bit later on with regards to this engine, because it's a tuned engine, because it's an engine that's been fettled with and is working at sort of peak performance, how that compares to some other tractors of the same horsepower. So for those that are interested, it's called Michelin Axio Bibs, strange name, isn't it, with the IF620s, 75R30s, and on the rear we've got the 710s, we've got IF710, 75R42. Good tyres, Michelin, the Ultraflex. These are designed to work at really low pressures. These are the ones I've got on my 240, and I do let them right down. In fact, if it was my tractor and I was doing this now, I'd have some more pressure out of there just looking at it visually, but it's a demo, so we won't do that. The changes, diesel, AdBlue, that's all nicely shaped, nice big diesel tank, and having your AdBlue filler there sort of seems like a good idea, because I don't know about anybody else that when you fill up with AdBlue, if you spill a bit, you know, and it's stuck up and it trickles down the side, it crystallises and goes all white. So if you spill a bit from there, hopefully it'll just drop down there or go on the mudguard. So well, either way you spill it, you get that horrible white, that crust. So there's one more step on this compared to the Puma. I think one more step. Or is it two? Anyway, it's very tall. Quite a short wheelbase. It's a longer wheelbase than the Puma, but it's for its size, it's quite short and compact. It's very tall. So it's got half a ton of wheel weights in the rear. Now we move around to the back end. So you've got your linkage controls here, up and down, PTO, and a spool again. I don't think, and this would be really nice if this was programmable on the back. I haven't managed to see if there's a setting in there yet. I have had a look, but it doesn't seem to be programmable. It seems to do one spool, because it's nice to have that working your hydraulic top link. So around to the back, nice big beefy axle. This has got a Cat 3 linkage on it at the minute, which makes sense with it being a demo tractor, because most people have Cat 3 equipment. If we were to go down this route, I dare say, well, I know if we were, it'd end up with a Cat 4 linkage, because you can make a Cat 4 fit a Cat 3, but you can't really make something that's a category 4.4, like a 4.4 drawbar. So I might lose some people here. You can't make a Cat 3 fit, where you can always make a Cat 4 fit Cat 3 stuff. You just have to have 3/4 balls, but you can't fit 4/3 ball in a Cat 3. Do you get me? So spools, it's got 4 spools on the back. If we were to have one, we'd need an extra one. We'd need 5, or at least 5, 6 would be ideal. So there's your air brakes. I said hydraulic top link. It's a tiny little thing compared to what's on the 1050. But bear in mind the 1050 is a Puma 200 on top of this tractor. You know what I mean? So yeah. So it's very similar. I don't know if it's exactly the same back end as mine. It's definitely beefier than my 240. But yeah. So cab suspension wise, it's on the springs and shocks. I really would like to see case go down the airbag route, same as that's on the Fendt. They don't ride as well as cabs, you know, air suspended cabs. But saying that though, it does ride nicely, but it's not the same as not got that same cushion effect as you would on like a Massey or a Fendt. So we've got it on our top down 700, we have, and yeah, she's managing it all right. She's all right. There's field running at the minute. This is coming brassicas. This field has been in clover for the last 4 years. I drilled it 4 years ago with clover, and we're going to come and farm it again now 4 years later. So if anybody says we over farm the land, then there's your answer. This hasn't been touched in 4 years. So yeah, it's a quick look at the outside. So I guess you're all going to want to know what it's like to drive. Let's have a look. Oh, operator was not seated. Correct. Right then, so we're in it. We're driving, we're going up and down. I've moved fields. The other field was very small, and ah dear, I knew this would happen. I absolutely knew this would happen. It's raining. It hasn't rained here for, well, we haven't had any significant rainfall for absolutely ages. And I get an OPTUM 300 to demo, and what does it do? It starts to rain, and it's yeah, things are getting wetter. We're all right at the minute. It's still dusty underneath. It's just a little bit damp on top. So we're all right at the minute. But you can see now it's starting to come down. Oh dear, dear. Summit, just go right for once, please. Yeah, so what do I think? It's everything that I thought it would be, to be perfectly honest, and a little bit more. And the little bit more is the engine. That's really yeah, that's surprised. It surprised me. It has. I've driven 300 horsepower tractors before. I had that Fendt 930 on demo, and I was expecting it to be the same as that. If not, I had a sneaking suspicion that this would be a little bit better powered. It would pull a bit better, and it does, and it pulls quite a lot better, to be honest, than that 930. It really does pull well. I am well impressed with it, with its pulling power. And like I said, this is the same 6.7 litre engine, FPT engine that's in my 240, but it's just been tuned up and strengthened so it can handle the horsepower, and tuned up, and they've done a good job with it. They've done a good job. I am well impressed. I think there's an awful lot more to it than this, so this isn't the reason why, but this is just a surmise of mine, is that the engine in the Fendt 930 that I had on demo, which is also obviously a 300 horsepower tractor, is a D-rated engine. So it's a detuned engine, because that's the same engine in a 930 that's in a 939. So we know that engine's capable of producing another 100 horsepower on top of, you know, that 300 it's got. Whereas this engine is tuned up. It's basically it's a tuned up Mad Max style ish, not really, but tuned up engine of the 240. And I think that's why this has got the edge on the pulling stakes. Obviously there's a lot to do with it, with weight and weight distribution and the transmission, but yeah, this engine pulls like an absolute beast. It does. So yeah, the engine has surprised me. There's more power here than I expected. So what else has surprised me a little bit? The size of it, right? And well, should I more say the feel of it? It's a big tractor, yeah, It's a big tractor. When you get out of it and you look at it, you think, yeah, that's a big tractor. The wheelbase, it's quite a compact wheelbase. It is a longer wheelbase than the Puma, but it is quite compact. It's more compact than in the flesh than it is when you see it on pictures and in magazines. But when I'm driving it, it really does feel like I'm driving a Puma. It does not feel in the slightest bigger than the 240. It just honestly it feels like a 240 that's on steroids, and I'm surprised by that. I thought I'd get in it and think I was driving a big tractor, a big 300 horsepower tractor, but no, it drives like a Puma, feels like a Puma, yeah, which is something else that surprised me. So down to everything that I thought it would be, which is really sort of the cab. I knew it would be the same controls, same layout, and it is, and there's nothing wrong with it. I like the case cab layouts. I always have, and I annoy a few people by saying this, but I prefer the case layout to the New Holland layout. Some people will be wondering why well, people that know, but people that don't, then you know, basically New Holland and case are the same tractors. They're all the same underneath. They're just painted differently and got different layouts in the cab. So that's why I'm making that comparison to a New Holland. But yeah, the cab is great. I've told you all before that I like the Puma cab, and yeah, and I like this cab. So other things I was sort of expecting is the back end is definitely a case back end. There's no surprises in the back end department. I would have really liked to have seen the cab be on air, like airbag suspension, air suspension, like the Fence are. It's more plush than a Puma, but it's on, you know, springs and shocks, and it's not got that same floaty feeling as you get with like an airbag suspension. But I wasn't expecting it to have a different suspension setup on the cab, but it would have been a nice little surprise. So front axle suspension, that's different. It's obviously a different front axle, and that's nice. It's plush. It works. I mean, I know I've got a weight block on the front, and front suspension not always works better with a bit of weight on the front. But yeah, that's nice. That's nicer than I thought it. Yeah, that's nicer than I thought it would be. It works well. So transmission wise, it feels smoother than the smaller tractors, than the Puma, but it feels just like any other case CVX that you drive. Doesn't feel any different. Compared to the Vario, I mean, the Fendt Vario gearbox is sublime. It is incredibly smooth, and so's this is smooth, but you have to know how to drive it to work it, to get that smoothness out of it. If you just jumped in one and just set off and started hitching up and you didn't adjust anything, you just got in it and drove, you'd probably find it's a bit yucky, a bit lurchy, a bit like, oh, it wants to go, and then when you stop it goes ooh and stops, and when you want to go it's gone again. And yeah, there can be, but there are ways around that, and that's with your preset speeds on the side here, where you can set your speeds using your little wheel on the bottom of the multi-controller. So imagine this is your pedal position, my hand, so that's top, that's nothing on it at all, that's bottom, right? So you've got that much travel. Oh, let me just stop a minute while I explain this. So you've got that much travel, So from there, 0, there, 53. So if you're wanting to shunt around the yard, and or you're at junctions and you're just wanting to do a little movements, you're not looking to like go flat out, you're not like road mode sort of thing, you'll only be using, you know, if you want to do 10k, 15k, you'll be using the pedal about that much. You know, you've not got that much travel on the pedal. The tractor's always wanting to sort of get up to speed. Whereas, you know, if you do that, that's where you can get that yucking, that sort of bucking and slowing down quickly and bucking about. Whereas if you're in the yard shunting about and you set your speed to what, 15k, so the pedal will still be there at 0, but when it's flat to the floor, flat to the mat, it's at 15k. So you've got all that range of motion in between, all that travel to adjust your speed when you're shunting about. So yeah, you've got all that travel from 0 to 15k, and that'll stop you yucking about, and the tractor, you know, it'll make your transmission a lot smoother. And that's something that applies to all the CVX models, the modern ones, is getting your speed right for whatever you're doing. You know, obviously you get your speed right for field work, but then getting your speed right for like shunting around the yard, and when you're coming up to junctions, what I tend to do is when I'm at junctions or I'm going through traffic and things like that, I'll have your top speed set at 53, and then I'll have that one set at 20 or 15. So my pedal's nice and smooth. So when I'm setting off at a roundabout, it's smooth. When I'm in traffic lights, junctions, all that sort of stuff, it's not. Yeah. So that's the difference with the CVX, is you have to work the transmission a little bit to smooth it out. Whereas the Vario, you can have that set flat out, and it is just smooth all the way through. Even though you're still the same thing with the with the travel, but it's when it slows down pretty smooth. When it speeds up, the Vario transmission is very progressive, but the CVX transmission is brilliant. I don't think I'd ever really go back, or I mean, it's not my decision, but I don't think I'd ever really like to go back to a power shift once you've got used to a CVX. And there are the same buttons. There's a nice little picture here on the screen. So you've got these 3 lights. This is to do with the transmission as well. So light number 1 is road mode, it says there. So like trailer mode, and that will, when you take your foot off the foot throttle, it will coast. It'll coast and slow down gradually. It's not quite as responsive as the next mode, which is number 2, which is 2 lights. So 2 lights on, which is field mode. So it just makes everything a bit more responsive. You speed up a bit quicker, you slow down a bit quicker. It'll hold the engine revs a bit higher. It'll just hold the revs. Yeah, well basically, yeah, just hold the revs a little bit higher. And then number 3 is a lot more sensitive, and that's for like loader work and again for field work. But me, in my Puma and in this, I've just been using light number 1 and light number 2. And what I've been doing is just revving the tractor up with me manual, with me hand throttle, so like 1300 revs, just like giving it a high idle. So when I drop the implement into the ground, it's not allowing to lug before the CVX, before the tractor thinks, no, put some power on, and it puts the power on. It's a bit more, yeah, it's a bit smoother, just having a bit of a high idle. Right, so as you can see, we've jumped from a case OPTUM into a Ford Fiesta. I'm actually recording this ages after the demo I've had. I don't know what I've done. I had my final thoughts bit, my end video bit, the bit I recorded, and it's gone. I can't find it, so I'm having to re-record it, and this is like a few weeks after I've done the demo. Yeah, it's just trying to recall what it was like. But to be honest with you, it's easy to remember. So, well, my final thoughts on the OPTUM then. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I enjoyed driving it, and if anybody likes case tractors, if you're into case tractors and you like the way they drive, you like the way they operate, then you'll love the OPTUM, because it is a case Puma on steroids, like I've said probably said numerous times in this video, and it pulls well, it pulls really well. At current, out of all the 300 horsepower tractors I've driven, or horsepower there or thereabouts, I can quite confidently say that that one pulls the best out of them all. That handled that top down really well. To say it's a 7 metre top down, that's big tractor territory, that 7 metre top downs, and yeah, he handled it really well. So overall, yeah, I'm impressed with it. I'm impressed with it. There's niggles. There are niggles. That case tractors, there are certain things about the cabs and some issues with build quality a little bit on certain things, sort of like build consistency, should I say. I think case have a bit of a habit of having a few Friday night tractors sometimes, but overall, if basically if someone was to give me that, if someone was to say, yeah Johnny, this is your new tractor or whatever, then yeah, I'd be absolutely fine with it. I'd be fine. I enjoyed driving it. It was a nice place to be. Everything was just where you want it, just like it is on any case tractor, any case Puma. So yeah, so we're good. So it's not an in-depth, massively in-depth review, but it's not a review. I'm not trying to do a review of the tractor, because I don't feel qualified enough to do a review. Just my thoughts. I won't go into too much of the technicalities about it, but yeah. So thanks ever so much for watching, everyone. What's coming up, who knows? Who knows, honestly, who knows, but hopefully I'm planning to get some irrigation filmed. Have filmed a little bit already, but haven't managed to film enough to make a video yet. But I think irrigation, what are they doing? Are they fly tipping? Oh no. I think irrigation's one that I wanted to do, because if you do irrigation, it's just irrigation, but to people that's had nothing to do with it before, hopefully I'll be able to dispel some myths about it, and how it all works. Everybody knows why we do it, which is to water the crops, but you don't know certain things about costs, about how it works, how it runs, what we do, blah blah blah, and all that. So yeah, irrigation's ones, hopefully that's going to come up. And then other ones like 3-point linkage, quite a few people have asked if I can do a video on the 3-point linkage, and yeah, I can do one on the 3-point linkage. And yeah, there's lots. And a Q&A, goodness me, I need to do that Q&A, I really do. I need to get that Q&A video out. I'm just waiting for the right chance to do it, because it'll be a long one, it'll be a time consuming one and a long one, so, but yeah, I really want to do it with me and with the farm as well. So yeah, so thanks ever so much for watching, everyone, and if you want to have a look at the Facebook, like I say sometimes, the old Instagram, Johnny1388, all that jazz, and yeah, alright everyone, I'll see you soon, bye.